Welcome to this episode's topic of sustainable partnerships. And we've got a great company to talk about with you today, Douglas Corporation. That makes some emblems that you may be able to recognize out there on cars, trucks, and so forth. They've been an OEM manufacturer since 1933. They have 5 locations in the U.S., specifically here in Minnesota, and their vision is to continue to be U.S. made. And in the automotive industry, with over 100 million in sales and over 450 employees, that's probably easier said than done. So how are they able to accomplish that? How are they able to stay in the U.S. when everyone essentially packed up or was sourcing overseas? Well, they built sustainable partnerships. And in the automotive industry, with those high pressures, not only from those companies, but then also the variance in suppliers, they needed to create these partnerships to take out some of that volatility. Not only that, but they needed a higher level of communication so that they can continue to have the quality that everyone loves in their vehicles, right? So with that, there's some key factors that they look for. One was, was the quality there? 2, was the sustainability there? Were these companies able to grow with Douglas as they grew over the years? And the last piece was, could they trust them, right? It's one thing to say the first 2, but really the delivery. There is zero margin. And we know nowadays that there really isn't anything that you can do wrong that won't create that negative light. You have to do everything right. So with that being said, let's flip it over to our discussion about the 3 critical business initiatives. When you're looking at revenues and you're looking at trying to grow them, it really is on your brand. And a lot of times your core competencies are fixated on that, but you don't do everything. So you need to build these partnerships. Well, the key thing about there is do you have that transparency to what it is that you're providing and to that opportunity? When you have somebody creating something or servicing or even providing the raw materials to your business, do they see the long-term vision? That does 2 things. One, from a procurement standpoint, they're able to price that over the long term, right? Now, don't fall into the pitfalls that a lot of procurement folks make, which is try to get all the savings today. If you're truly looking at a sustainable partnership, you're looking at what it means for the mutual growth of both companies. Because if you truly both companies are trying to grow, there needs to be an investment on both sides. And even though we love to have savings and we love to beat down the price, that goes against the intuitions of growth, right? And some analysts say that growth and partnerships need to grow, especially if you're paying for some of those services or products, at about 0.8 to 2%. They also say that if one of those core providers falls out, you could be taking upwards of an 8% hit on the chin. So when you look at it in relative terms, if you're just increasing 0.8% year over year, that could be far less than taking, again, that full 8 at any given time, because you're then left at the mercy of whoever's left. And if you're in the automotive industry and they're all overseas, well, now you're just setting up a whole new business practice, right? The next piece is really about that communication. Are you communicating essentially what's a win, the feedback, or what it means, the percentages of the makeup of either the service or product? That communication is really the optimization that you can receive from that. Think about this. You're right. If you increase essentially the payout or procurement or even the pricing by 0.8%, you can easily get that back in optimization. Well, where is that found? Mapping out the process, mapping out what each person's responsibility or even each company's responsibility is, trying to find those areas and pockets of savings, optimization, timings, lessen inventory, especially leaning out things. And then reducing the efforts. After you get set up or after you've gone into it, you should be experts in it, right? So you definitely can find the savings there without necessarily hurting the impacts. And then the other thing is that, if you take out that variability in that long-term agreement, especially with automotive companies or other clients out there, even in the retail where you can have that repeat demand, that adds a lot of power and leverage to that buy. Not only that, but you also get known for your stability in the market. So with that, there's a lot of things that you can definitely do to build those sustainable partnerships. A shout out to Douglas Corporation for letting us use that story. And I'm Les Hoffman. Until next time, build yourself the best case.